Okie dokie. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, March 1st, and according to my clock, it's 10:03 a.m. Hope y'all doing all right. I'm Pruitt. This is a Friday thing that I want to try to start doing henceforth. Just a bit of a hangout and a bit of a Q&A. If you have questions about photography gear, video gear, creator concepts, so forth, what have you, whatever else, feel free to ask them right there in the chat. I see Malika Brown in there. Hey there to you. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Hope you're doing all right, lady. But yeah, that's all this is. This is a bit of just hanging out here at the office, if you will, my studio. And if people show up and they have some questions, I will answer them to the best of my ability. What sucks is, just before I started this here thing, I can stop this music, can't I? Yeah, let me stop that music. Let's do mute there. All right, but anyway, just before I started this, my primary camera just wigged out. It sort of scared me a little bit, and I hope it's not what I think it is, but I think it's probably the motherboard on it. Not sure, because some other things was happening with it too, but we'll see. I think I got to send it to repairs. I mentioned that online a handful of weeks ago that I might need to send it in. Malika says, I'm doing well. Trying to get motivated to be creative again. Anxiety is a loud monster. Hey, hang in there. Hang in there. Sometimes the creativity can help manage that anxiety. At least that's what some folks have told me, but I'm rooting for you. The Mancy's in there. What's happening, brother? Good to see you. All right. The music should be off now. At least according to my screen, it's off. But who knows what the hell YouTube's going to do. Oh, gosh. Hey, Malika, as far as your creativity, what do you like creating? I know Demancy likes to shoot. He likes to shoot, but he also creates music. He created some music for me, actually. Thank you so much, sir. But yeah, here today, Friday, right now, I can't really say what Fridays will entail because now it's track season and baseball season and all that good stuff. So at least in the morning times, I would assume I'm fairly free unless I'm editing something. The images have already been edited. The show has already been edited. I still could do some more highlight clips for the show. Maybe 2 or 3 more, but I can spend some time on that later on. It's not urgent. I already got one highlight clip out there from the show. And Malika says she makes cards, decorate notepads, and paint. Ah, very nice. Very nice. Oh, I do remember you painting. That's right. Yeah, I do remember you painting. Do you have an adequate workspace where you can just paint at the house, if you will, and just sort of make it your own space and go in there and just totally shut out the rest of the world and just you and the canvas and some brushes and paints? Mr. Helms in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. What bourbon you been drinking recently, man? What you been shooting? Because you can shoot too. I'm going to mute my phone because I guess I'm on a text thread. So let me mute my phone. Mr. Helms. It's all right. It's good to see you, man. I don't know what my latency is here. I think it's probably 10 seconds. Who knows? But also, folks, since y'all are in here and you're watching me, do me a favor. Hit like on the YouTube thing. Just tap that like button. And then if it gives you the option to subscribe, hit subscribe on there too. I appreciate that. You know, YouTube's been showing a brother some favor here recently. So I appreciate them showing me favors so that can help open up some other opportunities and gigs and stuff, you know. So y'all doing all that stuff does help out. And it's literally just tapping a button. She says she's not utilizing her space adequately. Yeah. And that's another thing that happens. She says she feels closed in. Thank you, Mr. Doss. I appreciate that. Yeah, but Malika's talking about her creative space. Now, again, I get it. Everybody is not going to always have big studios and things like that, or even a spare room. You know, we're fortunate enough here at this home. We got a spare room that's pretty much our office. Well, this is my office, and then there's another spare room that they use for their classwork and so forth. And I get that. But even with that said, you know, when I was living in Chateau Ghetto, that apartment was a shithole and a hole in the wall. But I still found a little nook for myself to do my creative work. Usually it was where I did my photo editing and stuff like that. And you have to try to find that balance between, all right, this is my living space, and I don't want to encroach on my living space. And I also don't want to encroach on my creative space. You know, you have to try to find that balance. And sometimes it's going to take some sacrifices and stuff like that. But you got to do what's going to work. And every now and then you're going to end up changing stuff up too. You know, you'll move stuff around over time because you'll start to find your groove and figure out what works best and things look better. Miko has joined us. Good to see you again. He says, how to make a difference between AI and camera. What about flash versus constant LED light? Okay. Can you further explain what you mean on make a difference between AI and camera? Help me there. And then far as your other question with flash and constant LED light. Okay, from a photography standpoint, I think constant light is highly, highly, highly underrated. There's a lot of tutorials out there about getting speed lights and getting flashes and big old monolights and stuff like that for photography, because, you know, over the last several decades in traditional photography, when you look in the media on television sets or television shows, or just how photographers are portrayed, you are seeing someone with a camera and they click the shutter and then poof, this big light pops out and it's just this glamorous thing. And a lot of people will assume that, yeah, I need to get a big flash to make my shots look great. When actually you just need light. Yes, you do need adequate light, but you don't necessarily need a flash. And in photography, be it shooting still life, or even if you're shooting headshots, a flash is not really required. A good constant light works really well, especially if it has plenty of power to light up your subject. So you will still use the same principles far as with the photography side, shooting your first image to make sure you get a blank frame, making sure your aperture is set properly and shutter speed is set properly and so forth. When you click it, and then you turn on your light source and light your subject, and then you take the shot, because then you've already knocked out the fact that you've eliminated ambient light. I'm sorry, I keep looking at the wrong camera. You've eliminated ambient light in your first still frame. And then when you just added your extra constant light right there, now you're utilizing that constant light, and and you can play around with it and do what you need to do. Now, on the video side of things, that can get tricky as far as LED lights and tube lights and stuff like that, because lights do flicker. We can't see it with our eyes, okay? But when you're watching a video, the lights will flicker. So I wish I had something right here in front of me. I can't move this, but I was going to say, like, if I showed my ATEM Mini right now, the lights on it are just sort of on, but the video camera is shooting at 30 frames per second. So every second it's snapping a photo, and you look down at it and it looks like the lights are blinking off and on the video, because it's at a really, really high frequency. Usually it's about 60 hertz or something like that. So you're going to find some LED lights and constant lights that are not as good a quality. So that flicker rate is going to be really, really slow, and it's going to really be visible in your video. The better ones tend to have that dialed in pretty nicely. And then also on some cameras, you can set your camera up to be on the same clock speed, if you will. You know, like with my Canon, you know, I could tell it, I need you to be at 60 hertz when I'm looking through things, and it'll time everything up so I don't get a lot of light flicker when I'm shooting video. So yeah, LEDs are great. And he's saying CRI value over 95. Yes, get you a high CRI value. That makes a big difference. But again, I just say overall, don't sleep on the fact that constant lights are pretty good. There are some that are better than others. You don't always have to have a flash for your photography. You can use a constant light, even for macro, if you're doing macro photography. He says, I use constant flashlights on macro shots, soften the light with wax paper. Yeah, that's good. That's a hell. And Miko, that's a hell of a tip. That's another thing. You're using wax paper as a diffuser. That's another thing that the camera stores will try to push on you. And yes, diffusion paper and diffusion sheets, they do have a value, you know, but some people can't afford them. And there's other things that you can use to help diffuse light. You know, I'm right now, I'm sitting up under pretty big soft box right now. This big light has a big old soft box around it to make the light softer on my face. If I didn't have that soft box, I could put up a shower curtain in front of it. You know, just go to your local Walmart, Target, what have you, and you can get a shower curtain for $10 or less, hang it in front of your lights, and it will diffuse and make it softer. Is it going to be pretty? Is it going to look professional as far as the set goes? Nope. It's going to look horrible, but the final product is going to look great. So that's a good hack. Wax paper for your macro photography, Miko. Good stuff. Good stuff. Even when it comes to like doing reflector and bounce boards and stuff like that. I got a reflector somewhere. It must be down in the garage. But another thing, just even using like white paper or white poster board or something like that, that can act as a good reflector. You probably won't be able to see it so much now, but having your light source right here, and if you're trying to get light to sort of cover the other side of your subject, if you have something bright white on the opposite side, that light bounces off and goes onto your subject, and it's a really, really soft light. It's not going to be bright, but it's going to just give them a little kiss of light on that other side to help eliminate shadows. But this is a tiny example. Typically you would have like a big piece of foam core or poster board or something like that. And again, that's cheap. I still have foam core here that costs $2 that works. Richard Williams is here. Good to see you. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. P and the boys, much love for y'all from the UK. Love all your work. Thank you. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing okay, and I hope your family's doing well too. Thank you very much. Again, folks hanging out here, make sure you hit the like button on the screen. I really do appreciate that. That lets YouTube know that I am trying to do my thing over here and open up more opportunities. I don't know if y'all caught the podcast. We recorded that Wednesday. It is now out and about on the YouTube channel. It's also on your podcast applications of choice. So be sure to check that out. Had a good time. We went a little bit longer on the conversation this week, but it's okay. We still had a good time. We didn't even realize we spoke longer than usual. I try to manage the time, but we had a good time just chatting like we normally do. And that's another thing. I don't think people quite understand. Call that show Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit. That was the formal name and former name. Now I'm just calling it Everyday People because I want to try to monetize, with sponsors and things like that. So I'm just calling it Everyday People. But I've gotten some messages and stuff about some of the content on there, and I had to let folks know, no, that's no script. That is literally just hanging out, just like we would any other time if we're on the couch trying to watch television. I say trying because most of the time I'm trying to watch television and she's bumping her gums on something on the phone with somebody else, what have you. And we just chit chat. That's it. We don't share a whole lot of personal stuff, but it's literally just like how we would communicate and converse any other day. Everyday people, that's all it is. So thank you again for being here. And thank you for sharing out the show too. When I was laid off, and Phoebe, you're right. Yeah, it's still everyday people doing everyday shit. I still have that on all of the branding. But far as like when it shows up in search, I just got it as everyday people. As far as how it shows up in search, because that stuff matters. But yeah, when I got laid off at Pruitt, people asked about doing podcasting and stuff like that. I had a couple people approach me about doing tech podcasts, and I told them straight up. I said, I really don't know if I want to do that because it's a lot of work, and quite frankly, I was a bit tired of talking about tech because tech has sort of plateaued right now. Everything is talking AI. I'm tired of talking about AI. Good grief. AI, it's not like AI was just here last year or even 5 years ago. AI has been around a decade plus, so I'm tired of talking about AI. And you get a brand new iPhone, it's not much better than last year's iPhone, if at all. You get a brand new Samsung Galaxy, it's not much better than last year's model, if at all. So it's sort of boring to me. It's not all that exciting. Even camera tech, and I love photography, but cameras, up until what Sony just did with the A9 Mark III, having a global shutter, that's big. That's big news. But for the most part, camera tech is sort of plateauing off at the moment. Throwing megapixels don't always solve the problem. It ain't that. You need a little bit more substance to it to make it interesting to me. Canon's R3 camera is an awesome camera, but it's only 24 megapixels. Because the megapixels don't matter in that camera. What matters is how that thing freaking performs, the vertical grips on it, low light performance, being able to go outside in the rain and shoot with it without a problem. That shit matters, but throwing megapixels at it and selling that for marketing purposes, no, that don't matter. That, at least not to me anyway. It's just, yeah. But anyway, my rant was when I left Twit, I was thinking people were talking about podcasting, and I said, well, I'll consider restarting our podcast, the Everyday People podcast. I said, I'll think about it. And when I started thinking about it, I was like, man, that was a whole lot of work. I don't know if it's worth all that. I need to get out here and make some money. You know, I got bills to pay, and doing a podcast takes a whole lot of time. You got your recording time. You got your prep time first. Then you got your recording time. Then you got your post-processing time. Then you got your publishing time. Then you got your marketing time. And that's a lot of work. And I said, all right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give it a shot, an honest try. And I said, but I want to be able to at least pay the water bill every month, you know? So not trying to make a gazillion dollars, but if it makes a couple $100 a month, I'm happy with that, because it is just random off the wall conversation with us. Richard Williams says, hello to Phoebe. It's good to see you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. And again, with the podcast, I do have other plans. I do intend on having guests at some point to join us from time to time. And but yeah, that's coming up soon. I got a bit going on, and I can't quite wrangle everything in just yet how I want it, because again, I'm still even just rebuilding out the studio. All right, Kevin H in here with the question. Good to see you, Kevin. Any recommendation for a good back sling strap to easily carry my Sony with me while I go on hikes and go on bike rides? Quite a few times I wish I had my camera while riding the back roads. Yeah, there's a couple things out there. I'm a really big fan of the Peak Design Everyday Sling. I don't have it in here with me. I believe my son has it. He's been carrying it more than I have, but it's very small. If I can pull up my screen here, let me see if I can pull it up here. Peak Design, and let's see, Peak Design Sling. And they got a couple different sizes too. All right, so this is the 3L. All right, can I share my screen? If not, I'm definitely just going to put this link here in the chat for you. Here's the link to it. And that's an affiliate link, by the way, just full disclosure. All right, can I share the screen? I can't figure out how to share the screen. Okay, sorry. Well, that link right there takes you to it, and they're decent size. They have a couple different versions. That's the smaller version, I believe, the 3L, and it's totally good enough to carry your camera in it, a wallet, couple SD cards, couple batteries, because you don't want it to be huge. If you want it to be bigger, just get a daggone backpack. You know what I mean? But you don't want a backpack. You just want a sling strap, and that thing works really well. They do a good job as far as handling moisture, you know, because they use some type of material that impregnates the lining and whatnot to keep rain out. And Peak Design has saved my ass at least 2 times. I'm dead serious. So I fully endorse them. They don't pay me anything, but I fully endorse their products. Now granted, I take that back. They don't pay me anything, but they have promoted me a time or 3 in my career, and I appreciate their love, because I'm a nobody, but they've promoted me a time or 3. But yeah, they whatever they do from the waterproofing side of thing, it really does work. Again, I had 2 instances, and I'll just share one. I was at Bodega Bay Beach here a couple of years ago, and Bodega Bay Beach has all of these beautiful rocks and stuff, you know, because it's sort of like it literally looks like you're on the edge of the planet. Okay. All right. See you later. She's leaving for the day. But that beach is beautiful, and it's got all of these stones and stuff out there. So I went out there one day, took one of my cameras, took the backpack, tripod, and I was setting up for a long exposure. Okay. good 3-second exposure or what have you. And for whatever reason, I turned around to pick up something off the ground or whatever. And when I turned back around and I lined up the shot with my eye or whatever, and right when I hit the shutter button, this wave out of nowhere, huge wave. I'd been standing there for 20 minutes and it just been, watered at my ankles. But for whatever reason, this wave showed up because the Pacific Ocean is crazy. It's crazy dangerous. But this wave showed up and just soaked me. Well, got my camera, got the tripod, soaked me good. My bag was on the ground on these little rocks right here that I thought was safe. Totally soaked that. I picked up my bag, shook it off, shook the water off of it, opened it up, unzipped it at the top and whatnot. Everything on the inside completely dry. Everything. Not one thing wet. So, yeah, I stand by Peak Design. Even though they could be paying me, I got a message from them one time. It was like, man, you do my job better than I do my job. I was like, well, your stuff works. I got to give you your credit. It works. So that's my endorsement, if you will. Hybrid Media up in the house. What's up, brother? Say he's popping in late. It's all good. It's all good. This is all informal. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit like there. John Helm co-signs with me. He loves their sling bag too. See? Yeah, like I said, I believe my hardhead has it. Because he's got a backpack. I got 2 of their backpacks and the sling. I got a couple of their clutches and their straps, and I use their camera straps all the time, because I like the little quick release eyelets on them. And granted, there are other bags out there and other slings and stuff out there. Some people like Low Pro, some people like Timba. All of those are good. They're all good. But my recommendation is 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you Peak Design. All my homies, man, they used to yell. They'd be like, man, this bag is $300. And I'm like, well, there's a reason for it. You got a $300 bag with a couple $1,000s worth of gear on the inside. You want to protect that investment. You know what I'm saying? It'll hurt that first time writing that check or signing that credit card statement. But in the long run, you got to protect your investments. All right. Any other questions? Thank you for the question, Kevin. Sorry for the really, really long answer. Yeah, I'm looking at another thing. They have these pouches over there. Jeez. Kevin 8 says, I like to live by the motto, buy once, cry once. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. That's about like tripods too, man. You buy a tripod once. You hope to anyway. Because when you buy cheap, you're going to buy several cheap ones. I guarantee it. I tell people when they go to buy tripods, try to spend at the very least, at least this was a handful of years ago, so I can't even say this is true for today. Nowadays, try to spend at least $75, $80 on a tripod at a minimum. Spend that much. Okay. Because you need the materials to be able to stand up and hold up over time. You get like this here. I've had this tripod forever and it's a freaking tank. Look how hard it was for me to just push those legs back in. And I've had this thing forever. This is a Manfrotto. But you have to consider all of this stuff, like the legs on them. Some people like the twist off legs, so you can extend it out and whatnot. I don't like the twist off. I like to be able to visually see, is this leg extended or not. You know, if I can see that, I know it's locked off just because I clipped it and it locked it off, you know. But you'll spend a little bit more money when you look at details like that. This thing, again, I've had it for years. I don't even remember how much I paid for it. I'm sure it was a couple $100. But this is a Manfrotto 290 extra, and it's a tank. It is not light. I walk around with it. Most people pick it up and they talk about it as being heavy and so forth. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, it's heavy. But I know I can literally throw it out there in the street and it's going to be fine because I've dropped it and it's okay. Even down to the tripod head, the ball heads on them. You don't want a cheap ball head either because, again, your gear's on top of this stuff. Cheap tripods will lead to broken cameras. Hybrid Media says, did you ever figure out what was causing the flickering issue on your ATEM? I believe it was heat. Because it hasn't happened since I've shut it off. So I believe it was heat, but the ATEM's been fine ever since. And I'm just going to put it on my schedule to cut it off at least one day a week because I don't use it every day. You know? Miko says 3-legged thing tripods, another good brand. Yep, 3-legged thing. I use Benro and I use Manfrotto. Most of my video stuff are Benro tripods. Yep, and the other ones have been Manfrotto. Benro is an underrated brand. They're not quite as expensive as, say, a Manfrotto, but they are still pretty high quality tripods. They make lightweight tripods and stuff for travel too. Again, none of these people paying me. Hey, give me a shout, Benro. Give me a shout, Manfrotto. Oh, man. So what else y'all got going on? What's Friday look like for you? I believe I'm supposed to go to a baseball game today, but there's a lot of rain going on. I had a baseball game to go to Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday. And it was raining. But I know that they usually play sports in the rain. I know that. They always have. So I go over to the field and I see there's not as many cars there. I'm like, okay, people didn't want to go watch it in the rain. I get it. But then as I get in there, I notice people in red hats are walking the opposite direction. And it's because they rescheduled the game. I was like, crap, I wish I'd known that. Wouldn't have driven over here. Hybrid Media says he's a big fan of Surae tripods. Yeah, that's another one. They make good lenses too. Some of their lenses are pretty good. On the video side of things, you know, are you ever use any of their video lenses, their cine lenses? Because I know you shoot a lot of video for some of your clients. Yeah, their cine lenses are not bad, and they're not, if I'm remembering right, they're not crazy heavy either, considering the quality. Malika says, I have about an hour left at work, and then I'm going home to reorganize my office. I got a question for you, Malika. When it comes to reorganizing your office, is that like a therapeutic thing, or is it more like, I need to get this shit done? And then after it's organized, are you able to find the stuff that you need when you need it? Because I found that when I clean my office up, I always misplace things. So most of the time my desk is an absolute mess, but I know exactly where stuff is on top of my desk every single time. She was looking for, I think it's like the Lowe's credit card or something like that, and shot me a message. And I said, that card is on the corner of my desk on the back side of the monitors, right near the left edge. I knew it. And she walked in and that's where it was, you know. But my messy desk is my messy desk. Ozone Nightmare in the house. What's up, brother? Make sure you guys give Ozone Nightmare a shout. Go ahead and subscribe to him. Awesome artist. And I believe he is going to start doing some streams here on YouTube himself. Well, now maybe he's not, but I just put it out there publicly and I guess he's now pressured. Ozone Nightmare says, one of the few benefits of being an OCD adjacent individual is I have a system for everything because nothing is allowed to deviate from that. Oh, dude. See, we're eye to eye. We're eye to eye on that. Good. Now, Hybrid Media, do you have a rental house near you for renting photography gear? You may be able to rent one on the cheap and try it out. I know Lens Rentals has a bunch of them too. I used to be a Lens Rental affiliate. I don't know if I still am or not. Go to antpruitt.com/lens rentals. Let's see. antpruitt.com/lens rentals. And let's see, does that open up Lens Rentals? Nope. That does not. Let me try this one. Nope, I guess not. I used to be an affiliate with them, but anyway, I am not anymore. So lensrentals.com, give them a shout. No affiliation there, but I trust those guys. They're in Memphis, Tennessee. They have a lot of stuff, and most of the time their pricing is pretty good, and they usually have some discounts. I may have discount codes, so let me know if you rent something. I'll see if I have some discount codes to give you. Malika says, no, cleaning office is not therapeutic. She tends to sit in one area and just fussing. Hilarious. Ozone Nightmare, glad that you like the YouTube side of things. You know, it's some people also use StreamYard. I've looked at StreamYard and it looks nice. But there's always something that I haven't quite been able to get work for my own setup. And I'm still trying to work all of that out over here. But right now, for me, I'm going to continue to use OBS, Open Broadcast Software. I think that's what it's called, OBS. And then just continue to work with that and my ATEM. And I have a Stream Deck here that I've been trying to reconfigure. In the end, I need another ATEM. I don't need it. I want a different ATEM. I want to get the Extreme ISO. I just had the Pro. You know, but again, I have my own vision when it comes to doing this production stuff in here. And then I know it's all possible. So I'm just going to keep trying. John Helm says, you ever check out or use the Lume Cube lights? I did have some Lume Cubes. I had them back when they were the actual cubes back in the days. Now they have the actual panels, the little tiny, like 3 to 4 inch LED panels, and they are pretty solid. I don't have them to use or anything like that, but I have had my hands on them, and the quality of light does look good. Yep. But they have some, and then they also have it's like the competitor to the Aperture RGB panels. Pretty good lights. And Hybrid says, I don't have any close, so he uses Lens Rentals too. Okay, excellent. Cool. Steve Mars joins. Good morning. Great to see you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Since you popped in, hit like on that YouTube screen for me, please, Steve. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I use Lens Rentals. I've used them for years and years and years, and I think that's another reason why they made me an affiliate at one point in time, because I'd use them and I'd recommend them. And But I also try to use a local shop if I'm able to, you know what I'm saying? And I am very, very fortunate that right here in Santa Rosa, there's an old school camera shop. Man, I haven't seen an old school camera shop in forever. I think there's like one left in Charlotte. But these guys, they're great. And they rent out some of their gear. They don't rent out everything, but they rent out a couple different things, you know. So I go in there if I need to rent something. Let me take that back. I will go in there first if I need to rent something because I want to support the local economy here. And if they don't have it, then yeah, I'll go to Lens Rentals. And same for if I need to purchase something. I'll go in there first if I need to purchase something. A couple of weeks back, I had to go and purchase some seamless paper. Amazon has seamless paper. I've done it. I've ordered from them before, or Adorama.com, same thing. But I wanted to show love to Mr. Jimmy and Chris and Aaron and all those guys in there first. So that's where I went. Oh, thanks for the super chat. That was on Nightmare. He says, curious about your thoughts on the woke Gemini story. I'll do a short show next week on it. Less outraged by the errors, but found it to be a good lesson how these. Oh, man. Ooh. Yeah, I saw that. And how do I want to put this? Because I hate the word woke. First off, I hate it. It's not anything that you have done to that word. Woke used to mean I'm alert. I see what's going on around me. I get it. I see that this person is trying to use me. I get it. I see you. I'm woke. You know what I mean? But now it's sort of turned into some weird weaponized word of disparaging other people. And I don't quite get that. Now, from the Gemini side of things, I agree with you. It totally shows that large language models, LLMs, are far from perfect. But it also shows that we, the people, are always going to be far from perfect because who's feeding these models? People. We're feeding it, you know, and we're finally telling people, to try to be a little bit more aware about the stuff that they see and read and hear, because it may not always be true. And I'm glad that AI is here and doing certain things, but I also appreciate the fact that it's raising awareness for all of this bullshit like this. Who knows what that prompt was when they put it into Gemini and it spit out those images? Because I think the account that promoted it was a, quote, anti-woke social media account. So who knows what their agenda was? You know, I don't know, man. It bugs me because AI is just, it's only taking in what we the people feed it. And we the people feed it a bunch of stupid biases, unbelievable, ridiculous bullshit biases. You know, if I were to ask someone to an AI to generate an image of a doctor, 9 times out of 10, that doctor is going to be a white man with glasses and gray hair, as if there are no doctors that look like me out there. You know what I'm saying? But that's, again, it's all just training and biases. Gets on my nerves. 74 Hobbs. What's up, man? Glad to finally catch the notifications when you're actually on. Yep, I'm on. I'm on here for at least another 13 minutes or so. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Miko says, woke is made of just 4 symbols and has lost its meaning. Yeah. Ozone says, but as you said, I think it's valuable for folks to understand that these aren't sentient machines thinking for themselves. Exactly. But responses are programmed by people. Yeah. And again, with AI, we I got to stop saying we. With AI, our media sources, our news outlets and so forth, they are doing a shit-tastic job of informing us. And I can't necessarily blame the reporters. I blame their leadership, because they're sitting at that news desk and they have that in-ear monitor in, and the producer is telling them in their ear, hey, make sure you say so-and-so about this AI and how horrible it was for this experience and blah, blah. They're whispering that into their ears while they try to go through the story. And that producer is only whispering that into that reporter's ear because their boss said, hey, we need to really stir some shit up and get people scared so they can talk about this broadcast on their platforms. You know, never mind the fact that AI is not all good and it's not all bad. You know, there are some pretty decent things in there too. It's in the middle of the road. So, yeah. Hybrid Media says, have you used the YOLO streaming box? I reached out to them, the YOLO box. I reached out to them. They didn't get back to me, so I haven't touched it yet. It does look compelling, though, in comparison to the ATEM side of things. The reason I love the ATEM side of things is because I have Blackmagic gear. I have a Blackmagic camera over there, and it's so awesome. The camera controls built into it right here on my screen without having to go over there and touch it and manipulate it and so forth. And then I also use DaVinci Resolve. Yes, I'm still an Adobe product user too, but I use DaVinci Resolve too. And the ATEM stuff, depending on the model, would work really well with creating your DaVinci project files and isolated tracks and so forth. So yeah, it's cool that we have options out there though. I love that. It's competition. It's good to see y'all in here. I really do appreciate it. Keep telling folks about what I'm attempting to do over here in this little corner of the world. It's nice to see that there's no rain right now. I might go to town and just sort of walk around and do a little street photography. I don't get to do that often. Oh, wait a minute. Forecast says rain is coming at 1 o'clock. Ugh. Oh, well. Because I would like to go out at lunchtime or so and catch people out and about and do street photography then. It's pretty cool. See that stuff then. Any other questions? Feel free. Fire away. It doesn't always have to be photography related. If you got any questions about freelancing, have at it. That works too. Especially seeing that we got some freelancers right here in the chat. I love that. All you creative folks. What are your weekend plans? Y'all have any weekend plans? My weekend, I have a track meet to attend Saturday. It is the first track meet. It's the first, it's the last first track meet of the season. You know, Hardhead is his senior year and this is it. He's opening up in the big cat invitational is what they call it. It rains every year for this thing, so I'm not looking forward to that, but yeah, it's going to be bittersweet. John says, good to see you, man. I got to jump. Hey, good to see you, brother. Be well. Have a good bourbon and cigar tonight. Good to see you. Hobbs says, thanks for creating an opportunity to catch up with you. Glad to see you and just to be part of the conversation. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. Hey, same to you. Keep doing your thing out there, bro. We're raking out the old chicken coop and building a new one. Oh, man, that is work. Boy, managing chickens is some work, y'all. Whew. I don't want no part of that. I'll stick with hanging out at the track Saturday in the rain with my camera, taking pictures and watching my boy do his thing. That first meet, man, it's you know, it's interesting when it comes to the first meet because the weather is always craptastic and your body's not going to perform the same. It doesn't, especially when it comes to track running. You know what I'm saying? You have to be warm. You have to be warned to go out there and sprint for 10 seconds, 11 seconds. So it's being wet and rainy. It's a challenge for those kids to get themselves properly warmed up and ready to go. Granted, everybody doesn't take it as seriously as I do or as my kids do, because they are teenagers. So you get out here and you see a lot of sort of average performances in that first meet, and then there's the aspect of sometimes people get injured because it's too cold and they didn't properly warm up. Then there's the aspect of someone saying, dang, I tried to do everything right and I still didn't quite hit the mark. Well, it's because it's the first freaking meet. You're not fine tuned yet. It's going to take you a week or two, to sort of get into that mode of competition, but we'll see how it goes. Malika Brown says, going to try to be creative. You do that. Don't try, do. How about that? Dang, super chat, Mr. Ozone. You ain't had to do that, man. Thank you. He says, what podcasts or other channels do you go to regularly for creative inspiration or to get new ideas on things to try? There's such a flood of media. How do you weed through it all? Ooh, that's a really good question. So let me break this down. What podcasts or other channels do I go through regularly for creative inspiration or things to try? Absolutely none. Not a one. I don't listen to photography podcasts to be inspired. The handful that I do listen to and or watch is to be entertained. Real talk. It's to be entertained. I listen to Don Kamarechka, also known as Don Com. He does a Photo Geek Weekly. He is like ridiculously geeked out when it comes to photography. I'm talking down to the backside illuminated sensor chat kind of geeked out. You know what I'm saying? But he's very, very interesting and he's engaging. So I listen to his show. Steve Brazel, my homie down there in Southern California. He's getting back to doing his interviews where he interviews a bunch of different photographers from around the world. And they're very, very great interviews. He's really good at that. He's also a radio guy and he's really good at that. So I watch his, but I hardly ever watch any of those or listen to any of these photographer related podcasts for inspiration. It's usually for me to sort of get away, get away from doing my work, even though it is partly about my field. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm pull up my podcast app here. Let's see. Podcast app. Everything is in here. Yeah. Nothing is in here other than those two as far as being on the creator side of things. I have comedian podcasts in here. I have Huberman Labs to help me learn some different things. More comedian stuff. I got Ozone Nightmare in here. Yeah. Inspiration wise though, every now and then I get my inspiration from something that I saw on television or in a commercial, if I actually saw an ad for something. But I don't know. I don't really draw inspiration from stuff like that anymore. Not like I used to back in the days. It used to be, example, like Casey Neistat really inspired me to step up my editing game on the video side. It's what he did umpteen years ago. It was freaking groundbreaking. And he really told me, he didn't tell me that verbally, but just sort of subliminally said, hey, you need to step up your editing game because you can do this shit. So yeah, that's about it. Hybrid Media says Amelia Island Concourse car show is an annual car show here in Florida with over 4,000 cars. I can't talk. I'll be photographing cars this weekend. Yo. Okay. I'm going to come back to that, Hybrid. Ozone says, interesting. I spend hours just wandering through Behance and being amazed at what people can do. And Behance is highly underrated. I believe it's b.net is how you can get to Behance. I actually did a whole stream just flipping out over fonts. Yeah, Behance it's a huge creative community, a lot of inspiration in there. And what I like about Behance is going to be real with you. That community, they're going to be real with you because they're all are creators just like you. And for example, what I mean by that, for example, I can take a whole bunch of photos and share it with my mom, share it with one of my friends, share it with my cousins or whomever. And they can look at it and be like, man, that thing's great. And yeah, and it'll be a great one. Share another one that's not as good. Share it with those same people again. Oh, that's pretty good. It's great. Yeah, that's nice. Share an absolute crap one. Literally just a snapshot of the roof outside. And they'll say, oh, it's pretty good. Let's abstract. Yeah, nice. Let me do that in Behance. Behance, that community is going to say, look here, you're better than that. This is a snapshot. What were you trying to do here? Where were you going with this shot? What struck you that says, okay, I need to frame it this way instead of that way, And that's the value in Behance. So if you're a creator, I highly recommend getting in Behance because yes, they're going to lift you up and encourage you, but they'll also give you valuable criticism. And creators, man, we struggle with some people. I'm not going to say I do, but some people struggle with criticism as creators because they feel like their shit don't stink. And every now and then you could tighten some things up, and Behance will let you know, yeah, you can tighten this up a little bit. You could do better here. Oh, that's really great. Now, have you considered trying this and that and seeing what happens there? Because they are creators at heart and through, and they get it. And there's a lot of them that are working creators. We tend to, I gotta stop saying we. Creators tend to take a whole lot of pride in their work and never assume that their stuff can't improve. You can always improve. And you'll post stuff out here on the social medias to get that dopamine hit with all of the likes and everybody's telling you how great you are, even though you could have cropped that a little bit tighter and it'd have been a much more compelling image, Or the fact that your freaking horizon line is crooked. You're showing me this beautiful landscape and it's a crooked horizon line. And everybody's like, wow, that's a beautiful sunset. Yeah, it's a beautiful sunset, but it looks like you're drunk and about to fall over, Okay, yeah. B.net, Behance, I highly recommend. Create yourself an account over there if you're a creator, and because there's all kinds of creatives out there. There's video and graphics and everything. It's a beautiful, beautiful community the Adobe folks are running over there. Ozone Nightmare says, oh, wait a minute. I'm coming back to you, Ozone. Hybrid. You're talking about those cars and you're photographing cars at the car show. So those things typically start early in the morning and they go through the afternoon most of the time, right? So you go through the morning sun, you get that lunchtime sun, and then you get that evening sun if they make it that far. You, as the photographer, you're dealing with a lot of high glossy paint and all of that stuff. I would love for you to share, if you can't share it here, share it somewhere so other people can learn. How do you manage shooting in all of those different lighting conditions? Because if you're taking photographs of these prized possession, these classic cars, these collectibles, those images better look good. They don't want you taking snapshots. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you're working with your environment and your conditions. And as another photographer, eye to eye, I know that shooting a cherry red 67 Corvette or what have you at noon with the sun directly over the top of it that's going to present some challenges. So I would love for you to be able to share your experience on that. And because I guarantee you that'll help some other people out too. Guarantee. Ozone Nightmare says, one thing I really gain from Behance is I'll see something someone has done and I'll try to figure out how they did it. They can lead to some interesting discoveries. Even I can't duplicate the effect. Yeah. That was me years ago. Like, how can I duplicate that? I love that. Just sort of reverse engineering someone's creations. One thing I do struggle with, like I can't watch. There's a lot of times I can't even enjoy a ball game on television or enjoy a TV series because it's shot poorly. And I'm like, all they need is one more light right there, or the ACC network they've been really, really bad and notorious for the last year and a half, maybe 2 seasons of football, where their white balance has been totally off for their football broadcasts. It's totally off. It has a huge green tint to it. My Clemson Tigers would be out there on the football field. Yes, there's green grass, but their britches are white. Their britches shouldn't look green. You know what I mean? And it's total white balance, and it kills me. It kills me to see that. I'm like, you all are professional broadcasters. Somebody need to check white balance before you hit go. Oh, gosh. Oh. Hybrid Media says circular polarizer helps a lot. Boom. Perfect tip, man. Thank you for that. I don't use those a lot, but I know that they are key. They're very, very critical when it comes to reflections, even like with shooting water. If you have a CPL, man, it makes a big difference in that shot. So thank you for sharing that. Ozone Nightmare says, man, I get that with YouTube videos all the time. The damn zoom in for emphasis. It drives me nuts. It's I can say that the zoom in for emphasis, I like it. It works, but I don't need to see it 4 times in your 10-minute video. Some people overdo certain effects and transitions, in my opinion. So I agree. Hey, Mr. Photo Waltz TV, Mr. Jefferson Graham, good to see you, sir. I was checking out your Treasure Island video. I need to go down there at some point and check out Treasure Island, but then you mentioned all of the construction going on. So, now I'm wondering. Make sure you all subscribe to Photo Waltz TV with Mr. Jefferson Graham. Go over there, show him some love, and hit like and subscribe on his stuff. It's good stuff. He does a lot of great tips with just using your daggum phone to get photography. He's so good at it. Demancy says, reverse engineering someone else's creations helped me become a better photographer. There you go. And a better music producer as well. While trying to mimic someone else, I tend to find my own, quote, voice. Yes, that's good stuff. And that's the thing, man, is once you sort of figure out what your voice is and what your style is, you become a lot more natural and a lot more intentional in your creations. You know what I mean? There's people, there's a guy, Mr. Williams, here in town. That's an amazing street photographer. And every time I see an image on my phone, I know it's him before I even look at the tag or the handle that's on it. It's like, yep, that's his style. That's how he shoots, because he's very intentional on how he creates it, and he's just walking around shooting street photography. Yeah. Mr. Jefferson says there's still great photo ops on that island, so it's not an issue. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I think I can get out there next week. So I got to go to the city. I believe I got to go to the city Monday. I have an interview Monday for a camera operator gig, and maybe I'll check it out Monday. Yeah, and Ozone Nightmares, he agrees with Demancy. Excellent stuff. All right, folks. Again, thank y'all for being here. We have now gotten our hour in. I'm so glad to be here and glad to answer questions for y'all. I'm going to keep doing this on Fridays, so go ahead and mark your calendar. 10 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. If you're subscribed to the channel already, wink, wink, hint, hint, hit subscribe. If you're not, if you're subscribed, you should get a notification for when I schedule these and they pop up and so on and so forth. But for the near future, I will be doing this on Friday. And unless something gets scheduled on top of it, like I have a shoot to go to or what have you, hopefully that doesn't happen. Most things ain't happening at Friday mornings like that for me, which is why I picked Friday. So mark your calendars. I hope to see you all again, and be sure to tell some other folks to pop in here too and get their questions answered. You know, last week we were talking about camera bodies and all of that and a little bit of other crazy stuff. We got into the podcast stuff. So again, it's not just photography. It's not just video. It's creator economy, gig economy, whatever else y'all want to talk about. Lights, crazy pets, weird neighbors, what have you. All right, y'all. Yeah, click the like button before you leave, please. I do appreciate that. And Mr. Clarence Brown, thank you. I really do appreciate you being here. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Have yourselves a good Friday. I need to go get the camera ready for this afternoon's baseball game in the rain and go have myself a little early lunch. Y'all take care. See you later.